Before I explain the video title, here's the game idea. In the feudal kingdom of Taylor, magic is an oppressive hand. Were you born with it, were you given it, or would you have none of it at all? The answer defines your fate. Royal, oligarch, or peasant. The king wields the oppressive hand from his palace. In there lies you, his son, the Prince of Taylor. Just like the other royals, magic flows in your blood. For 19 years, your father, the king, isolated you in those palace walls, kept you as an ignorant tool. The king taught you many magical abilities so that you may also wield the oppressive hand one day. In other words, a lot of bonding time with Dad. But on the day you were meant to awaken a special magical ability, one that gives the right to be king, nothing appeared. You can't be king. The 19 years of your life suddenly became meaningless. You feel a void that can never be filled, a depression that grows like a cancer. But don't be selfish. Think about how much effort your dad put in to brainwash you, all gone to waste. Your father isn't angry, he's just disappointed. Actually, he's bare angry, so he kicks you out of the palace, into the real world. But now, with your own two eyes... wait, hang on, I haven't drawn the eyes yet. Okay, here we go. With your own two eyes, you can see the world for yourself. In this non-linear journey, you decide your fate and the fate of the whole kingdom. Factions are the groups you need to deal with. You can fight alongside them to cause deep societal change. Maybe you get them to fight each other to prevent any future conflict. Or something in between. Dialogue is the key. Persuade people to do your dirty work. Lie to them to create conflict. Or I guess you could be nice to them and help them. Anyway, combat is complicated. I'll explain that later. The point is though, is the world is your block of tofu. Cook it as you wish. Regardless. Turns out, your life wasn't a waste. It just had never truly started. Until now. Part of your backstory involves a mysterious monster called a Furlan. I hope you're scared. Well, maybe someone can figure out what the name Furlan is a reference to. I haven't made a 3D model for it yet, though surprisingly, not much is known about the Furlan. Wow. Well, I mean, if it's not well known, it must be pretty sneaky, quiet, and fairly small, like a mouse. I mean, just use your imagination, right? So, to demonstrate, let's just use this elephant I made at home. One of these fellas attacked you in your room one night. It's probably the reason why you didn't awaken your special magical power. I haven't really decided that yet. Where are my manners? I'm Kenny. Hello, I guess. I'm a computer science student. I use Arch Linux to give myself a false sense of superiority over my friends. Now that I am free from random Windows updates and anti-malware service executable taking up all of my RAM, my productivity has changed by about 60%. Well, 60% less productive, that is. I mean, I spend most of my time editing configuration files instead of doing actual work. But luckily, I have Hyperland, which allows me to bring my productivity back up to that of an average Windows user. But I do have an identity crisis. I'm a computer science student. I use Arch Linux. But behold, I touch grass. You might not be familiar with what grass looks like. That's okay. ChatGPT verified that this image is in fact grass. Now you know. And that got me thinking. Maybe we should fight the stigma around computer science students and Arch Linux users. I mean, I shower every day. I touch grass. What other stereotypes are there of Arch Linux users? Never mind. Touching grass gave me inspiration on two fronts, I would say. The first one's kind of obvious, right? I mean, the prince, he thought that his whole life was in these four walls, just like me as an Arch Linux user. Well, the thing is, after he was kicked out, after he went outside and touched grass, well, he realized, you know what? There is really something to live for out there, right? There are things outside which are worth living for, both physically and metaphorically. Is that not beautiful? I think it is. Anyway, on the second point, on the more technical side, I suppose, this video series, well, I guess if you look at individual blades of grass, right? They are, I think they're much cooler, they're much more interesting than a whole lawn, right? Because an individual blade of grass has asymmetry, different lengths, blah blah blah, right? but it's useless, right? Compared to a lawn, I mean, a lawn you can walk in it, right? It actually has a use, but it loses so much by having all these different blades of grass combined together. It loses so much of its interesting form. This is what this video series is going to be about then. It's not going to be about like rushing towards making a whole complete unit at this whole lawn. It's about documenting how I make each of these individual blades of grass, about documenting how I make each of these individual components before they get smushed together into one game. And yes, I am going to be making a game that hopefully I can sell on Steam, but the point is not really that. That's not the point of the video series. I'm documenting all the mistakes and the whole process. That's the idea. This series is going to be as much about making a game as it is about learning how to make a game. So I'm not like a really senior dev or anything like that. I've never made a game before. I've been programming for about 6 years. I do have an internship in the summer, so I can program. It's just that I've never really focused on game development. So if you're interested in someone kind of learning and kind of like a rookie, like trying to actually make a proper game, and not just like a one-off thing, but like for a whole series, then you should keep watching. Otherwise, you're going to find this very painful. So just keep that in mind. In terms of the game engine, I'm using Godot. That's an open source game engine. Of course, I'm an Arch Linux user. I have to use all the open source software in the world. I've played around with it a bit. The reason why I like it is because GDScript is a very nice language, but the problem is that realistically, if I'm going to put something on my resume, it's got to be C#. I could use C++, but I do not have much experience with that, and I don't want all these memory errors. So we're using C# mainly, but we might integrate some GDScript. In terms of the 3D modeling, well, I made all the 3D models in this video, so hopefully that at least proves I can 3D model. Obviously, I'm doing that in Blender. So the reason why I'm using low poly is probably quite obvious. I'm a single developer. I'm not planning on hiring anyone else. I want to do everything my way, just like Frank Sinatra did. Right, that's another thing, right? It's with this indie development series, I don't want to rely on things like generative AI. I want to write every single word of code possible. I'm not going to get anyone else to help me with this, right? I mean, I might ask the community or whatever about some things, but I'm going to write every single line of code. Alright, final bit of this tech stack, if you like, is going to be music. I really like music. I really love composing, and I would say the best skill I have is probably improvisation. So the workflow is this. Let me show you. Okay, so I should open up Musical first. So Musical is where I do all my composing, and I'll explain things I do. Oh, what the hell is this? Oh, oh right, okay, yeah, this is the thing I was composing last night. So just for fun, I guess. Yes, composing is fun. That was way too slow though. You gotta take it from the top. You gotta make things right. Those things will fall apart. Da, 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 da. Anyway, enough of that crap. So let me actually open up something I've been working on. This is an old thing, but oh yeah. So the whole process. So first of all, I'll go over to my piano over there and improvise on that. Let me just prove I have a piano. What should I play? That was really bad. Anyway, yeah, so I would record an improvisation, send it over to this laptop, and then what I would do is I would open up, so I would use MPV as a music player. It's really nice because it runs from the command line, Control F, and then there you go. I've got me playing the piano. Anyway, I can slow it down, and that would obviously help me when I'm transcribing it. It's a bit like tracing, I guess, and you can hear the same melody here. But the problem here is that I haven't loaded in the sound fonts. So I'm using MuseScore 3.7, by the way, which is a branch of MuseScore 3 because MuseScore 4 unfortunately just does not have good enough dynamic control. And the issue is that I need to use MuseScore for actual, like, this is going to be the final product, like the sound of this. Now, luckily I have good sound fonts. If I didn't, I'd be in a lot of trouble. MuseScore 4 has a much better playback, apart from the dynamic control. But anyway, this is my favorite part. Let me just play it. So notice actually, but it's like kind of fun. Anyway, enough of that. Yeah, I just enjoy composing a lot. So I think I'm going to start talking about the factions. So the different groups within this game, and that will help me explain the rest of the game. So first of all, what factions exist? There is the royal family, right? There are the oligarchs, there are factions within the peasants, and there are also the scientific outcasts. Those groups of people obviously have thoughts about you. The royal family initially hates you. The oligarchs probably also hate you, who knows. And the peasants, they also hate you because you were associated with the royal family. Everyone hates you, right? And that's so fun, isn't it? So of course, if you do good things for them, they like you more. If you do bad things against them, they hate you. But what I want is to have networks, which are kind of like a layer on top of that, right? A network it's just a group of people again, but it's kind of more representative how people actually interact with each other. So, for example, there's going to be a bar in this game, and there's a network, there's a group of people who go to that bar. So, again, there's these different networks within factions and across factions, and information spreads across them. If you hurt a member of a network, that also impacts the whole network. And, that might sound a bit complicated, but it's just graph theory, right? It's pretty simple. Your dialogue options are going to be reflective of how you get on with the different factions, and also your actions. So you're going to have, obviously there's going to be some kind of stats, right? An example is going to be hatred, right? So let's say that you've done a bunch of killing and okay, I really hate people, okay? Enough evidence to really raise your hatred stat. And that means your dialogue options are now going to also be more hateful. So, it's going to be very physics-based. There should be a physics explanation for pretty much every single magical move. And the point of that is that, well, maybe there is no magic. It's all just science. You can push yourself off the ground. That's just basic, Newton's third law. If you bought a pouch of oil, you can then ignite it through some physical process. A lot of these battles are going to happen in kind of within a building, right? It's going to be very kind of ad hoc, grab whatever you can. All of this combat is going to happen in some kind of weird, real-time, turn-based hybrid combat system. So, yeah, I guess that's devlog number 0 done. It's number 0 because I haven't actually written any code. I will next time. In terms of uploading, it's difficult. I mean, this video took ages to record. So I'm planning on releasing a video every week. Not necessarily a devlog video. I'm thinking about other types of content. So, for example, me playing the piano. But I'm hoping to release a devlog video at least every 2 weeks. But a video of any kind once a week. Right, that might be devlog, that might not be. But I really want to get very good progress on this. And yeah, I have no idea how good this video is going to go. I don't think it's going to do that well. Whatever, it's fine. This is just my project. That's all that matters. So thank you for watching.